You are listening to the Lawyer Stories podcast with host Benny Gold. Lawyer Stories was founded in July 2017 and is an expanding global network of lawyers and law students sharing their personal journeys to the noble profession of the practice of law. Join us on this podcast as we dig deeper into these stories and hear from lawyers and law students from around the world in all areas of the legal profession. Here at Lawyer Stories, we believe that every lawyer has a story. What's yours?
Welcome to the Lawyer Stories podcast with Benny Gold. Today we welcome in Scott Solkoff, Florida Bar Board certified in elder law and owner of Solkoff Law, PA, and also co-founder of Elder Law College, and lead instructor there. How are you doing?
Hey, thanks. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, good to see you. We appreciate having you on. So how's everything going there in Florida?
Well, this is the best time to be in Florida. You're in Massachusetts, so you know how the weather goes. I'm actually heading up to Boston myself in 2 weeks because my son is in college and law school, in fact, in Boston. So I know that the weather right now is much better down here.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. I think we're looking at a little bit of snow tomorrow. Where is he at law school in Boston?
At Suffolk. He went to college at Emerson.
Very good.
He wanted to be a sports broadcast journalist. And I said, do people even have journalists anymore? Are people watching? And he said, oh, yes, Dad, they are. But he went the law school route.
That's awesome. Okay, well, he wants to follow in your footsteps, sort of like you did with your dad, right? We'll get into that in a little while. So, first, tell me, where were you born and raised?
I was actually born in a small town in Western New York called Penfield, which is outside of Rochester. But I moved when I was 6 years old to Southeast Florida. So I've been here in Florida for almost all of my life.
Okay, so are you a Buffalo Bills fan or no?
Yes, I am. I actually have to root for the Bills, and it's why I'm going up to Boston. Patriots are playing the Bills.
Okay, very good. So let's jump into your lawyer story. We did feature you a day or two ago. So after law school, you realized you weren't happy. You had a first job, right? And you weren't happy there. I think a lot of attorneys go into their first job and they're sort of this isn't really for me. Can you tell us about your first job after law school?
Yeah, thank you. I took the highest paying job I could get, which means I lost my way a little bit. I went to law school very idealistic. I wanted to change the world. And instead I got caught up in that whole third year thing where you want the biggest signing bonus, a fancy law firm. And I got that with a wonderful law firm, very smart lawyers, fancy office. And yet it didn't take me very long to know that the lawyers that were there, that were ahead of me in life, had children and families, weren't very happy people. And I saw why. They were getting to work when it was dark out, leaving when it was dark out. They didn't have human being clients. They had, companies.
Right.
And, you know how it is. It was intellectually really neat, but not very rewarding. So unfortunately, I had another path, as you know, and that was
right. So you had another path. So was that the only job you did before you joined your father?
Yeah, I mean, my third year of law school, I did that thing where you are a prosecutor for a little while, and kind of a half a prosecutor, a baby prosecutor. I did that, and my first law job though was with this firm in Tampa, Florida. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then you went into your late dad's firm to handle elder and special needs law. I was wondering, can you just explain elder law? I mean, we all know trust and estates, but what is more that goes into elder law? And I think I've also read that you did some amazing things with multidisciplinary, bringing everybody together within the realms of elder law. So I would love for you to explain to us what actually it is.
It's good. So the main difference, I can sum it up in a sentence, and that is that the estate planning attorney, at least traditional estate planning, focuses on what happens after death, whereas the elder law attorney is looking at the lifetime needs of our clients.
Interesting.
Okay. That's a very big difference in approach, because once you take that tact, you're now looking at incapacity planning, access to healthcare, how we can avoid impoverishment, family dynamics issues, and the like.
Okay.
Those predominate.
That's a very that's a very clear distinction that you gave us. Thank you very much. That's it's very interesting. So you have a motto, and it's doing well by doing good. Can you tell us what that means to you?
I think it's why I went into the field. It's actually a motto that certainly my father did not invent, but he lived by, and he brought that forth as a kind of the family motto. This is what you do with your life. You want to make a difference, and you want to do well by doing good. And elder law is made for that. It is a very rewarding practice area. Financially, I'm certainly making more money than I ever thought I would make.
Yeah.
And I'm helping people all the time.
Right.
We get hugs and checks.
You get hugs and checks. I like that. I think that's amazing. Hugs and checks.
It is amazing. Every time I go to work, I when I have my first meetings in particular, you really see the relief in clients' faces, and their whole body relaxes once they realize they've got a strong set of shoulders that they can rely on now.
And so at your first firm out of law school, were you doing personal injury work? And you said it was corporations. So it's more.
We did securities litigation, complex securities litigation. So we were doing broker dealer stuff, and we had some really interesting cases, but it was technically interesting, but not really human.
But it wasn't fulfilling, right? So like, obviously you're somebody who needs to have like a fulfilling path in the law. And you went into this path with your dad, and it seemed to be like more fulfilling for you, and you get the hugs and the checks. So I think that's like something that somebody would look for when looking for an elder lawyer, somebody who actually, that's what they want to be there for. So I think that's great, Scott. So where did you go from there? Like, you worked with your dad for a little while. How long were you there? And then what happened? What transpired?
Yeah. So I after I left the commercial litigation firm, I went to, actually I took my 2-week vacation in my dad's office, make sure that this was for me.
Okay.
And I saw the very first day I was there, he had 6 families come in back to back. I mean, just,
wow.
I had one human being client the entire time I was with that other firm. So this was really amazing to me. And people come to the elder law attorney with some of the most core human issues you could really be facing. Losing a loved one to terrible illnesses, the death of loved ones, planning for your own incapacity. These aren't fun things, and yet they're very human. And
right,
people need solutions. And
right,
though it could be depressing, when you see yourself as part of the solution, it's actually quite rewarding.
Right, and you said along the way, like and this might be a question for later on, but you've received other requests from attorneys to teach you. Like, you've become so specialized in the field that other people are asking you like for advice about how to become an elder law attorney, right? So that was, and we're kind of bridging going into the to your elder law college, but you noticed there was a trend of people asking you about the area of law.
That's right. My father was very giving as a lawyer. I really felt that it was part of his responsibility to give back to the bar. And when lawyers would call him and ask him questions, he not only would answer, he'd send in his forms, he'd say, come on, nice. To the office, and it was wonderful. So I tried to do the same. And but ultimately, yes, it led to the creation of Elder Law College. I'm blessed with a father who was vested in my success and who I had by my side, and I never take it for granted. Benny, it's I know most lawyers have to hang a shingle and figure it all out on their own, and I have immense respect for that. But in elder law, because there's so much complexity and so many balls in the air, there are a lot of barriers to entry. And so Elder Law College was my effort to give back to the bar and to give people a father in the business like I had.
That's amazing. I love that. So was your dad's practice in New York, or were you in Florida? He was in Florida.
He was licensed in New York, but ultimately he practiced most of his life in Florida.
Okay.
And was one of the founders of the field of elder law. Wrote the first book on elder law.
Okay.
Practiced in the town of Deerfield Beach, Florida, Benny, there was a place called Century Plaza. Have you ever been down to Southeast Florida?
Oh, of course. Yeah, my folks actually have a place in Boynton Beach, so I'm very.
So you know it well.
We'll talk about
So,
that after. Yeah, and I've I went on a date night in Delray Beach a few times. I love it down there. Yeah.
so Century Village is like a small city of elderly people, and his office was in Century Plaza.
Okay.
So when people in Century Village would go to the pool or play shuffleboard, they'd talk about either the podiatrist or my dad. This is
Yeah.
the conversation. So he was really a little town lawyer kind of
Wow.
thing. It was really neat. Yeah, really neat.
That's
practice.
amazing. So, and I love that you do mention you went into his firm after you tried another job, but you came up with this idea. Like, tell me about when you came up with this idea for Elder Law College and what that was like. Like, were you just sitting back one day and you said, "This is what I want to do," or it's sort of like tradition in my family to help people, so I want to do that. Like, how did that come about?
It was really the demand for it. So lawyers would call me just as they had called my dad. And
Okay.
I would, there was one lawyer in particular who would call and ask questions, and I was happy to speak with him. Bright, capable lawyer. But he wanted more, and he talked to his law firm, a successful law firm, but no elder law department. He had been going to seminars, he had been reading the books, and it wasn't enough. So he said, "I've talked to my law firm. I don't feel comfortable continuing to call you and ask you questions. Would you put something together and come here and train us, have an elder law department developed in our law firm?"
Wow.
So I said, "That's going to be really a lot of time on my part. I'm going to have to leave my family and come over there to your part of the state. I'm going to have to put together all of that material." He said, "We know, we're willing to pay for it." And they paid me an ungodly sum of money to do this work. And they set up what ended up becoming a wonderful elder law practice, the largest in that area of the state now. And so I had this course developed, but very few lawyers could afford to do what he did. So put that aside for 3 years, and I end up reigniting a relationship with Bob Henderson, who was one of the top small law firm consultants in the country. You may know the name. And he and I were talking, and I said, "Listen, Bob, I've got this whole thing together, and I need to improve upon it greatly, but I have a course together, and I would like to teach more, but scale it out so that lawyers could afford to do this course."
Right.
And we talked about it. We tried it out with another lawyer. I put on more fine tuning, brought in some other educators, and ultimately that became Elder Law College, which started 7 years ago. Bob since passed away.
Wow.
His wife, Jan Friedland Henderson, who's an incredible business person in her own right and a consultant, stayed on. And we now have a whole team put together that helps lawyers all over the country convert their existing practices into elder law practices or add elder law to their existing practices.
That's amazing. So, and I think you saw a need for this, though, right? Like, there was you thought that there was elder law, and then there was like a lot of subjects underneath the umbrella of elder law, like a multidisciplinary. And so you tried to present this to the Florida bar. Is that correct?
Oh, that's kind of a related story.
Yeah. So I'm curious about that story. I think it might be earlier than the story we just discussed, but we're kind of going back and forth. But I'm curious about that because I think it's very relevant.
I would say this: when you and I first met, you said that you started this as a fun project, lawyer stories, and it just kind of grown from there beyond what you had even imagined.
Yeah.
Same with Elder Law College. It was a passion project.
Okay. Right. And that's it. Passion project. Yeah.
Become like a whole big thing now. But elder law is by nature very multidisciplinary. So that while I like to think of the lawyer as the center of that wheel, and in many ways we are, there are other team members like social workers, care managers, gerontologists, accountants, financial advisors that are integral parts of that lawyering. And so well prior to me, the elder law section of the Florida bar petitioned the State Bar Association to allow in non-attorney members. I think it was the first section of the Florida Bar to do that.
Wow.
And so there were non-attorneys that would come to our meetings and learn, and we'd learn from them. And ultimately, yes, I did get to put together a program called Elder Concert, which is now in its 20th year.
Yeah,
And
Elder Concert, right? I have that in my notes, Elder Concert. So
yeah.
And you came up with that name you drove by something one day and you were like,
wow, you know a lot. Yeah,
I need to do this. I do my research. So, and I think that's incredible. It's in its 20th year. You've kept it going. So you bring multidisciplinary people from like all over. I mean, I think that says a lot about your practice because, you have more of a big like vision. So like, you're not just sort of narrowed down to like the lawyer. You see that it needs more than just maybe,
it's a team.
It's a team. Yeah, for sure. That's all. Well, congratulations on that. That's huge. I think it's super interesting, what you're doing. So, why do you think like attorneys switch to or add elder law and special needs law to their practice? Why do you think they're doing that?
Best way to explain that would be, let's take Sam and Dorothy, an average client who have saved and saved and saved and saved, right? They've done everything right. They didn't live the life of Riley, and they retired to wherever. They retired to your town. And they say, eventually come to you, and Dorothy says, my husband of 50 years has been diagnosed with dementia. I'm slowly losing him to this terrible disease. And I'm worried about the money because I see what's happening with my neighbors. They pay out money for home health aides. Some of them have to go to nursing homes. How am I ever going to do this and get my Sam what he needs?
Right.
And then on top of that, how's she going to live for the rest of her life? And so to help somebody like that, and the whole family showing up in my office and seeing these very raw emotions, it's extremely rewarding, and the value proposition is great. So the elder law attorney can help Dorothy and Sam protect all of their savings, qualify for government assistance that they would otherwise have had to have been broke to get. Wow. They would have had to become impoverished in order to get the help to pay for these things.
Okay.
And the elder law attorney, through using the federal rules and state rules, are able to make those savings protected. Be there for Sam and Dorothy, while they can still get help from the government. Now, not agreed, Benny, because if we did nothing, they'd be broke. Right. They'd have nothing left, and they wouldn't get the care that they need. So it really is a wonderful service. That's a big part of elder law. And then, of course, we also plan for healthcare decision making. How's Sam and Dorothy going to be able to delegate that authority when they're no longer able to do so in a safe way?
Right.
How are they going to set up trusts and other devices to use for their assets? How do they get the most out of Medicare and VA benefits and special needs planning for disabled heirs? So there's a lot to it that we can bring to the table. And therefore we can charge good fees and again, do well by doing good.
For sure. There you go. There's the motto. So I'm still curious about, and I want to kind of flesh this out more about like elder law college. So if somebody wants to go to elder law college, like, do you go to them or they have to go to you?
Well, they come to us actually.
Okay.
So elder law college does 4 programs a year called the Elder Law College 360 Practice Building Program, and it's basically a boot camp, 3.5 day boot camp.
3.5 days. Okay.
We have one coming up, in fact, this week.
Really? You're the lead instructor. What are you doing on here with me? You got to be preparing for your classes, right?
It's a busy week.
Yeah. Okay.
But I'm actually very honored to be on your show. So
thank you so much. We're honored to have you. I think you got a very interesting thing going on here. So I'm happy to hear more about it. So it's a 3.5 day boot camp.
There's a seamless curriculum that starts with estate planning, the basics as if you know nothing, and then goes into incapacity planning, public benefits, Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, VA benefits, how you put everything together for a client in a deliverable, in a package, how you price it, how you market, how you can do a good job beginning Monday when you go back to your office and not mess up, do a good job for the client.
That's amazing. And you said, let me just jump in there. You said you don't have to have experience. Now, say you're a criminal lawyer and you have a law degree, right? And you just want to pick up, you want to go and all of a sudden do elder law. You can go to elder law college, right?
It's exactly what it's for.
But you have to have a law degree, right? Like, it's for lawyers.
It's all practicing lawyers. It's lawyers that have been practicing, anywhere from 3 to 50 years. We have lawyers that have been practicing for a very long time who feel stuck and want to do something different.
Okay.
And elder law appeals to them. Maybe they're naturally empathetic people, or they want
I love that.
I love that. Lucrative.
I love that. And they so when they graduate in 3, is there a test or anything?
No. What happens is at the end of 360, my vow to them is I'm going to put it all out there and give them everything.
Okay.
And their vow to me that I exact back from them is their effort and their commitment. And they stay members a minimum of 1 year. And that's their commitment going in. I'm going to take this 3.5-day class, and I'm going to remain a member for at least 1 year.
What do you mean by a member? What do they have to do?
A member means that you participate, that you attend our monthly meetings, that you have access to the member portal, which is hundreds of hours of video on specific topics. So if you need to know more about a particular area, you watch the video. We have a member-only private listserv where people ask questions of each other.
Beautiful.
It's a very close-knit.
And is it just for Floridians, or can I from Massachusetts come and join you and learn?
We have many lawyers from Massachusetts. It's all over the country.
Okay.
You have 38 states represented. And we were just talking to somebody from Alaska, one of the states we don't have represented. We're hoping they show up this weekend. But yeah, it's a really good, diverse group of people, diverse in every way.
So how many are in each class, would you say?
We limit enrollment. So there's no more than 25 lawyers allowed in each class. And we usually fill up. This particular one is not filled up. I think it's usually because of the holidays, but we usually fill up. And it's meant to be a close-knit environment. We break out into small group discussions. There's a sense of camaraderie and friendship that develop within the group. It's a very nice thing to see.
And I would say too, going back to the early part of our discussion, you're really honoring your father too by giving back in like that second piece by saying, I want you to be here for a year because I want to, be able to help, right? To like answer questions and like do that sort of thing, right? So like that's sort of what you were saying that he did. He would, he'd give people their documents and this and that. So I think it's really sort of honoring him. So I think that's.
I think that what happens. You're right. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
What I think is nice is that when you start in a new practice area, what you'd really like is learn what you have to know substantively, but be able to walk down the hall to the other lawyer and say, what do I do about this case? And you can do that when you have that type of small group support system around you.
Wow. So like how intense, or like, I'm curious about these things because I've been in trainings for my job, but it's totally different. So like how long are the days at Elder Law College? Like how long are the classes? Like if you get somebody in there who's a criminal defense lawyer, they're like, you know what, I'm an attorney in Florida, and I know there's a need for elder law. I'm going to come and learn everything. Like how intense is it?
Well, it's not physically damaging, but it is mentally taxing. So you'll find that we start on Thursday.
Good. So people aren't like running, you're not having anybody running laps is what you're saying, but it's.
No.
Okay.
No push-ups. But it starts on Thursday at late afternoon. And we only meet for 2.5 hours on Thursday. And it's kind of your get to know you. If you had a cocktail with you, you'd get to know each other. We do one PowerPoint on Thursday about an overview of elder law and what's coming for the next 3 days. But it's a relaxed evening. And then Friday morning, bright and early, well, it's actually not so early, depending upon where you are in the country. But because we have lawyers from all over, we start at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And we go till 6 p.m. Pacific. So we end up closing down at 9 o'clock Eastern.
Wow.
So it's a long day, 8 to 9 hours a day. And then on Sunday, it's a little shorter, but no less intense. So it is like pledging. You go through this class and you're going through a lot together.
Yeah. So do you do so when they get in there Thursday afternoon, are you like look to your left, look to your right, like the person? So is it well, now you're gonna start doing that. But do you use the Socratic method, or are you like calling on people? You're like dinging them out, or what? Like you?
So and that's not so bad. But what we do is we take a topic. There's actually work done ahead of the program. So every person that's attending gets a package of videos to watch ahead and some documents to look over. And then we start off, get right into it on Friday morning after the Thursday introduction. And it's mostly lecture format at the beginning, but then as the substantive knowledge sinks in, we do breakout sessions where we have practice clients and we start applying what we've learned. Then we have open forums and discussions about running, how do you run it in your office? What are the procedures? And all of the documents are given as well. So not only the legal documents, but the internal documents, how you run your practice.
Wow.
So by the end of the day on Sunday, you'll see grown people crying that really, some of whom felt trapped and now see a pathway.
Really? That's incredible. So people are like,
awesome. Yeah.
People are showing emotion. They're like, wow, I'm going to go do this. And like, this really changed my life. Like
I had the toughest guy that you could ever imagine. Special forces. This guy was tough.
Wow.
And he opened up on Sunday like I've never seen before. And it's tell you that got me, so yeah, it's an awesome group of people.
Wow. That's got to make you feel incredible. That's amazing.
And he's going to go out and change more lives, right?
So
it's a pretty cool
tell
thing.
me about like the do you have a document bank? So like like in a state, because some states are different, right? Like you got the jurisdiction. So like, how do you deal with that? Like the different documents?
So we have two choices for people. We have documents in Word format that they can download and use at will as long as they're members, and they get updated as well. We have videos on how to make those state specific and how to make them your own.
Okay.
And we also have one of the largest document assembly and most prestigious document assembly companies in the country, Interactive Legal, who does the leading estate planning package. They've now added an elder law college component to their program. So they offer elder law college document assembly program for those that want it.
Okay. Wow, that's awesome. So like what would set you guys apart from your competitors? I know I've seen some other programs out there. I've interacted through Lawyer Stories with like so many attorneys now, and like mostly like estate planning stuff. This is like sort of the whole package. Like what sets you apart?
Well, I think we have a very purposeful curriculum that it's not like you're going to a bar event and listening to one speaker talk about one topic and then disjointedly having another attorney come, and you leave that conference saying, wow, that attorney really knew what they were talking about. I should refer my cases to them.
Right.
Instead, Elder Law College is very seamlessly put together and a very well designed curriculum that's been proven to work. So that's one thing. And the second thing I think is the ethic by which we demand of each other in Elder Law College. All members demand of each other. And that is being a good lawyer, not just a form filler. Being able to get out there and solve problems and do it in an ethical, lucrative way.
Yeah, I mean, there are like a lot of forms out there, like LegalZoom, you could do a will and all those things. So why should somebody go ahead and use an attorney for those type of things?
I tell the members all the time, if you get into the business of selling forms, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
And you could give away the forms. The forms aren't expensive. They're easy. We could just print them right off of our computers and email PDFs.
Right.
What makes a lawyer is knowing how to use those forms. And that's where Elder Law College really excels, is teaching lawyers how to lawyer and feel good about their practice.
Right. So somebody going into, I just want to ask you a question. So somebody who wants to become an elder lawyer, what advice would you give to them?
Well, examine who you are as a person, what you want to get out of life, not just work, starting with what do I want out of my life? And then you back into that. Okay, here's what I want out of my life. I want to work X number of hours a week in my job, and I want to be able to canoe and bike, X number, whatever. And then you think about, what type of lawyer does that make me? Can I control my schedule if I'm a criminal defense lawyer? Probably not, right? You're on the court schedule. What if I'm a family law attorney? Am I going to feel good going home every day? How are those things going to pan out for me as what I want? So I'd say examine yourself, and then how am I going to learn it? And so, and any practice area, this is probably true, but I can speak only to elder law. What do I need to know in order to open up my doors competently? And you'll call that level 1. And that's what you have to focus on. But even figuring out what is level 1 takes knowledge, right? And so if you try to read a book, I write a book, it's a good book, but it's not going to teach you how to be a lawyer. It's a resource. If you're going to go to bar events, it's not going to teach you how to be a lawyer. It's a resource.
Right.
So what we've tried to build, and I think we've done so successfully, is an organization that supports, a lawyers organization that supports lawyers to be in the field, to know how to learn it, and to get up and running as quickly as possible.
I love that. I think that's a great response to that sort of thing. So tell me, like you said, you had a son who's in law school in Boston. I think it's awesome. Suffolk's a great school. So what advice would you have? And this is sort of off what we were talking about, but like, what advice would you have for somebody contemplating going to law school?
Well, he tells me he's going to be an entertainment lawyer, and that may well be. I don't know where he's going to go with his career, but all I want for my son is to be happy.
That's it.
And so when you look at, my first job, those lawyers weren't happy. They were not happy people. They were miserable.
Yeah.
And I don't want him to be in that situation.
What year is he?
He ends up practicing law. First year, he just took his first finals.
Oh, so we're in fall, huh? First year.
You remember that first?
Okay.
He took property, which oh my gosh, I don't envy him at all. He's on the rule against perpetuities.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I won't ask you what that means here. How's that? But so generally, if somebody came to you and said, Scott, like, I'm thinking about going to law school, like, what would you tell them?
So have fun.
Have fun. Okay.
Have fun. You have to, your first year, yes. If you get too uptight, you're going to lose it. Your first year, it's a lot of uptight people. Relax, have fun, do the very best you can. And then when it's your second year, you get to pick the classes that you want to take. Pick something that you're interested in.
Yep.
I read a book recently, and oh gosh, what was it? But it was basically about following your passion, that people in any career are the ones that are the successful people, are the people that really, really enjoy what they do. And so right.
Scott, so tell us, like, I think a mentor is very important in the law. What is your take on that? Do you think it's important to have a mentor? Did you ever have a mentor? Tell us.
Well, of course, I had my father. Once I went into elder law, I had my father, and that's irreplaceable. And I had a huge leg up in my career because of it.
Right.
But I think every lawyer needs a mentor. As you know, we don't really learn how to be a lawyer in law school.
That's right. That's right. It's all theory, right? And then you need to learn from somebody. So you're involved in a lot of things outside of the law. Tell us some of the public works type of stuff that you're doing.
Well, I mean, Elder Law College is my great passion right now.
It's your great. So actually, let me ask you, stop right there. So when you have your own firm still, right?
Yeah.
And then you have Elder Law College, both located in Delray Beach?
No, Solkoff Legal PA is in Delray Beach. That's my law firm.
Okay.
And I'm a full-time lawyer, but I also have other lawyers who work for me, a really good team, and that's what allows me to do Elder Law College. So
there you go. Okay.
Elder Law College is really all over the nation, but our place of business is actually Jackson, Wyoming.
Wow. Okay. Very good. So what percentage would you say goes to each? I mean,
No,
like,
I'd say my mornings generally are spent with Elder Law College, and my afternoons are generally spent as a lawyer. And they both help each other. Obviously, I'm a
yeah,
much better lawyer because of my network and
sure.
knowledge from the other lawyers in Elder Law College. And I couldn't do Elder Law College without being a lawyer.
How long has Elder Law College been around now?
7 years.
And you have quite the staff, by the way. They're very friendly. I would, very nice, very approachable. I would definitely encourage anybody to give Elder Law College a call to,
Thank you.
see what's going on over there, and maybe sign up or talk more about the program. I think it's like very interesting. I think they should have like you might want to, somebody might want to start like a criminal law college or like like a personal injury law college. I think it's a great concept. I do. So you do some speaking too, like speaking presentations.
Yeah, I get to go all over the country and teach other lawyers. And like I said, I learn at least as much from them as they learn from me. Many of the planning strategies that I use in my practice, I get to learn from some of my idols in the field of elder law.
Yeah.
Elder law is a very close-knit group in many ways, and many people feel like they may be too late to the game. That's so not true. I mean, the baby boomers are just coming of age now.
Right.
There's so many people that need help and not enough good lawyers.
So if you take your typical, not your typical, but let me start again. If you take your estate planning lawyer and they say, I want to add elder law, what does that mean?
Well, for them, their focus has been, for most traditional estate planning lawyers, wills and trusts.
Right.
And they do powers of attorney and healthcare advance directives as a part of that. But their main focus is what happens after death. So what they're learning in Elder Law College, and we have many estate planning lawyers that come to Elder Law College, more than any other practice area. What the estate planning attorneys are learning is how to apply that to Sam and Dorothy's lifetime needs. What does it mean? There's not going to be anything to give away in that will or trust if they spend all their money on a nursing home, which is going to cost $10,000 a month. They could not possibly have saved enough. They've got maybe $500,000-$600,000, and that money's going to be gone. And so now that estate planning lawyer is going to be a problem solver for Sam and Dorothy, not just what happens after death. I mean, in some ways, who cares? It's what happens while they're alive, and then what happens after death.
Let me ask you a question. So I used to think I wanted to go into it. I thought I was going to go into a lot of different type of law, and most recently it was sort of estate planning, because I thought at first in law school I thought I was going to be a PI lawyer, right? Now I thought it was going to be estate planning, but then taxes. Tell me how much you need to know about tax.
Great question.
Okay.
I'll tell you, most elder law attorneys know very little about tax. And part of that is because the estate tax exemption is so high right now. And even if Congress, lapses and it goes back down, most elder law clients are not the high net worth client. The sweet spot, if you will, for the elder law attorney would be a client under $2 million in assets, from nothing to $2 million. The higher net worth cases, most elder law attorneys are giving away, referring out to their tax lawyer colleagues.
Okay, got it. Yeah, no, so they refer it out and then they get it done that way. So I think, I've looked into it a little bit, so I kind of know what the deal is. So Scott, tell us, is there anything we left out today that you want to explain about Elder Law College? I've tried to cover everything from the beginning to what you're doing now, but please, if there's anything.
I think you really did a great job. It's clear that you not only were just asking questions, but the way you followed up shows me that either you're really, really good at acting or you really were interested. And that's
Look, I love what you're doing, and I think it's a great thing. And and by the way, I want to see you guys get on Instagram, and because I tell you that's our main hub, and maybe I'd like to connect with your son, because what I'm saying is I will connect you with anybody in my network, and my network is sort of online. That's where Lawyer Stories is, lawyer_stories. And, we really appreciate having you today. And we're looking forward to getting this out and having everybody listen to it. And seeing the tremendous idea you had and what you're doing. So, we appreciate your time today. And is there anything else that you want to say in closing?
No, thank you for having me. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Stay right there. And everybody else, thanks for tuning in. And wherever you are in the world today, enjoy yourselves. Cheers.